really prepare. Really prepare.
And now from McAllen City Hall, a meeting of the McAllen City Commission.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'll be filling in for the mayor who's not here today. We're going to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation given by Commissioner Joaquin Zamora.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If everyone could remain standing. Gracious God, as we come before you today to discuss important matters, we ask for guidance, discernment, and wisdom. You are the sole source of all knowledge and understanding. Therefore, we seek your direction in our decision-making process today. Help us to listen attentively to one another with open hearts and minds as we serve you and be your servants. In Lord Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. We're going to begin with a proclamation, National Engineers Week, given by Commissioner Castillo.
Proclamation, State of Texas, County of Hidalgo, City of McAllen. Whereas Engineers Week was started in 1951 by the National Society of Professional Engineers to raise public awareness of engineers' positive contributions to quality of life, and whereas engineers use their scientific and technical knowledge and skills to provide planning, design, and oversight for the transportation, water, wastewater, traffic, and storm drainage systems for the City of McAllen. And whereas engineers face major technological challenges of our time, from rebuilding towns devastated by natural disasters to providing planning, design, and oversight for the various projects located within the City of McAllen. And whereas the important effort of engineers help drive forward the economy in the City of McAllen, protect our environment, and ensure public safety. And whereas engineers continue to encourage our young students to recognize the importance of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics as a STEM programs and degrees in our region. And whereas we will look more than ever to engineers and their knowledge and skills to meet the challenges of the future and the efforts and contribution of the engineering profession to the City of McAllen. Now, therefore, I, Rodolfo Rudy Castillo, City Commissioner of McAllen, Texas, by the virtue and authority vested in me, and on behalf of the Mayor and the City Commission, do hereby proclaim February 16th to the 22nd, 2025 as National Engineers Week.
Thank you, Commissioner Castillo. First of all, I'd like to thank the commissioners and our city managers for this recognition. Thank you also everyone here for taking this moment to recognize the impact that engineers make in our communities, and also for being part of the engineering community, be it as residents, support staff, technicians. Everybody helps the engineers make the work that we do possible. So I wanted to point out that last year the City of McAllen was part of our E-Week as well, and helped raise money to provide over 47 scholarships to our local students Thank you, City of McAllen, for taking the time and effort to make this possible again. And we look forward to continuing to support our community via financial support and also with our presence and our work. And thank you all.
Okay, our next proclamation is National Society of Daughters of the American Revolution, given by Commissioner Zamora.
Patricia Carey? Okay. Jesse, you become the official photographer.
You can have maybe one or two on this side, if you like. One or two of the members could be on this side, if you don't mind. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome, members of the National Society Daughters of the American Revolution. City of McAllen Proclamation, State of Texas, County of Hidalgo, City of McAllen. Whereas on July 4th, 2026, our nation will commemorate the sesquicentennial anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And whereas the National Society Daughters of the American Revolution is a non-political women's service organization established in 1890 and are part of an organization deeply rooted in principles and values that have shaped America since 1776. And whereas through the President General's leadership, our members have stood as sentinels of patriotism and strong perseverers of American heritage, sharing a common bond of our lineage descent and patriotism, which unites us as we rejoice in our DAR ties of service and friendship. And whereas we stand on the threshold of the semiquincentennial, ready to celebrate our nation's rich history and diversity, to promote belonging through membership and dedicated service to God, home, and country, and by completing projects in unique, local, and impactful ways. And whereas Texas Daughters honor all men and women who have achieved American independence as these patriots, believing in the noble cause of liberty, fought valiantly to establish a new nation. And whereas the Rio Grande chapter, National Society Daughters of the American Revolution, celebrate on this day our commitment to the importance of historic preservation, education, and patriotism, with the dedication of this bench at the Veterans War Memorial of McAllen to honor those American patriots who sacrificed their lives and fortunes. Now, therefore, I, Joaquin Zamora, City Commissioner of the City of McAllen, by the virtue of the authority vested in me, on behalf of the Mayor and Board of Commissioners of the City, do hereby proclaim February 10th, 2025, as Rio Grande Chapter National Society Daughters of the American Revolution Day. Congratulations.
Okay, I'd like to thank the Mayor, Mr. Zamora, and the City of McAllen for this proclamation. We will be having our dedication for this bench that we purchased to place at the Veterans War Memorial. That will be happening Monday, February the 17th at 10 o'clock. And it will represent for all the veterans that have served and are now serving. Thank you.
Okay, we'll continue along with the agenda. Item number 1A, routine items.
Mayor Pro Tem, this will open a public hearing.
And we'll open the public hearing at this time.
Good evening, Commissioners. So these first routine items, A1 through A4, all come with no opposition from the public and a recommendation of approval from Planning and Zoning Commission. These are the following items. They can all be approved in one motion or heard separately as this commission would prefer. or may prefer, sorry. The first one is a rezoning from R1 Single Family Residential District to R3T Multifamily Residential Townhomes at 10921 North 23rd Street. Second item would be a request from Mr. Oscar Guerrero on behalf of RZ United LLC for a conditional use permit for 1 year and adoption of an ordinance for a vape store at 721 Dove Avenue. Item 3 is a request from Ms. Anita Moon on behalf of Greater McAllen Association of Realtors for a conditional use permit and adoption of an ordinance for 2 portable buildings greater than 10 by 12 at 1324 East Nolana Avenue. And lastly, item 4, request of Loretta Johnson on behalf of Gabriel Gamel for a conditional use permit for 1 year and adoption of an ordinance for a bar located at 1701 Dove Avenue, Suites 75 and 80.
Anyone here to speak for or against any one of these 4 items?
Being no opposition, I'd move to approve.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to approve items 1A, 1 through 4. And a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Before we move on to 1B1, we do have 2 people signed up for public comment, and we can take them at this time. Norman Barr, if you're here, please join us at the front and state your name and address, please.
Yes, my name's Norman Barr. I live at 7113 North 15th Street in McAllen. And yeah, I wanted to make comment about actually one of the topics you have coming up with rezoning a property in Trenton, 1501. And I know that the Zoning and Planning Commission had already recommended not to change the status into a high-density zoning area for residential, and I just wanted to come and voice my support for that decision, that provide an independent testimonial of someone who lives in the area. I live 200 feet from where that property is, that safety is a concern for us. If everyone, you may have data already, but I can tell you that the intersection of Main and Trenton is getting busier. So are along Trenton on both other intersections on 10th. We have traffic, we have more cars coming through. We've got 3 major schools in that area. So we're very concerned about the safety of our families. If that rezoning was to occur and allow for a higher number of people coming in and out. The development in the area, we've got Sam's Club where people are turning in and out already. There's new apartments that are already going up a bit further out, so we already know there's going to be an increase. And we know that just one development's not enough to maybe cause, all the safety concerns and congestion, but it contributes to it, and we don't want anyone to have to suffer from that. And I'd like to also mention that from a perspective of a homeowner, I like the charm of the area that I live in. And obviously, if a higher density residential was going up in anyone else's neighborhood, they would probably go, yeah, that's kind of a little bit different than what I thought my property was going to be, what my investment is, and how my life is living in that property. So I just wanted to come here today and let you know that it does affect me. It affects a lot of neighbors, not just in that general area, but in the broader community that we have there. So I please just wanted to voice my opinion and perspective on behalf of my family as well, that I hope you uphold the recommendation to not rezone. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And next, Arlene Garcia also signed up for public comment for this item as well.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Arlene Garcia. I live at 1404 Thunderbird Avenue. My husband David and I have lived in this home since the early 90s. And our property literally backs up. Our backyard butts up against the property in question that is going to be is potentially applying for rezoning. We've lived there for many years. We've seen large growth and development in the area, which has already brought congestion, the burden of traffic, east-west on Trenton and north-south on Main. Y'all are very well aware of the traffic congestion in the north part of town. What is happening that we see more and more is traffic is diverting off of 10th and 23rd to avoid the super congested areas, and they're coming onto Trenton and Main, specifically North Main, to commute north. So that becomes a real issue for those of us that live literally one block, a very short block, south of Trenton and Main. There are times that we can't even safely get in and out of our residential area because of traffic backed up there. Our concern with a multifamily dwelling structure coming up in a very small, narrow space would add to that congestion, would add to the problem of the traffic burden, the parking burden already to this area. And so I spoke, and as well as Mr. Barr, we spoke at the Planning and Zoning meeting. The Planning and Zoning Department already disapproved rezoning this to a high-volume, large residential area development. We urge you to support your Planning and Zoning Commission board, I should say, excuse me, who have already done that research, who already made a recommendation to disapprove for a high multifamily area, specifically because we do have a lot of foot traffic. It isn't just car traffic all hours of the day and night. We also have foot traffic, not only the residents that we are out walking, but as well we have a middle school directly across the street and an elementary school 2 blocks north, 2 blocks south. So there's a lot of student traffic, parent traffic, walking their kids back and forth to school there. We are concerned that the additional traffic to that area would be a true burden to the area. We are here to ask you to please support the decision of the Planning and Zoning Committee, who has already voted to disapprove rezoning that area. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you very
We
much.
appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Anyone else here to speak for or against this item?
Yeah, we'll have planning staff make a presentation, Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay.
They'll do the presentation and then they can.
Okay. 1 second.
Thank you, Mr. Quintanilla. So this request, as mentioned, is a rezone from C1 to R3 high-density residential district at 1501 Trenton Road. The subject property is located on the southwest corner of Trenton Road and North Main Street and is currently zoned C1 for office building district. The applicant is requesting the rezone to the high-density residential district to construct apartments. The property is currently vacant. The adjacent properties are AO District to the north, R3C District to the east, R1 District to the south, and C1 District to the west. Surrounding land uses include Homer J. Morris Middle School, Kids Bean Kids Academy, single-family residential homes to the south, vacant land, and Extreme Auto Clinic. Our Envision McAllen Future Land Plan designates the future land use for this property as complete communities, which is compatible to R1 single-family residential. Duplex, townhomes, triplex, quadplexes, and neighborhood-scale mixed-use retail are considered the most appropriate for this area. This includes diverse housing options and promotes walkability, as mentioned. The development trend of this area is a primary mix of single-family homes and commercial compatible uses. There is currently an R3A apartments district subdivision to the east of the subject property. However, the use of the most of all that subdivision is duplex and quadplexes, which would be more compatible with an R2 medium density district. At the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting of January 21st, 2 residents did speak in opposition of the rezoning request. Staff also recommended an alternative approval to an R2 medium density residential and a recommendation of disapproval for the R3 high density district. The commission did vote in recommendation of disapproval at that meeting. Following discussion, the board voted to recommend disapproval of the request to R3 district with a 3-1 vote. There was 4 board members present and voting. It should also be mentioned that there is a petition that was submitted that triggers a supermajority requirement for this board.
Okay. So a supermajority is required. That would
Yes,
mean
sir.
all 6 of us would have to.
It's present. It's supermajority present and voting, Commissioner.
Okay, present
So
then.
it would be 5 out of the 6.
Got it. 5 out of
And
6.
I guess it would be fair to note, I believe it is, that the applicant can also ask that it be a full commission vote.
That's correct.
Okay. Anyone here to speak for or against the item? I believe we had. If you can come to the front, please.
Noah Dyer, 9393 Highway 105, Brenham, Texas. I am the developer for the property. We own the property from McAllen originally. Had a lot of I guess, questions, concerns about the traffic around there. It is commercial. We are looking to develop this year, so was looking for something that was maybe a little more upscale apartment complex as opposed to having office buildings there in that spot and really having a lot of traffic in that area. So just looking for y'all to consider that as you think about you voting your position on this topic.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Ivan Garcia with Rio Delta Engineering. Just to add to the comments that Mr. Dyer was making, again, their original intent was to do the offices, right? But they're exploring the possibility of doing the multifamily. Of course, the rezoning is on the critical path. As part of the packet that we submitted to Planning and Zoning, you can see that the geometry of the property does not really allow for a lot of things, right? Basically, meeting parking requirements, detention, landscape, and all that it's a little bit more complicated than having a regular property. But we feel like the preliminary site plan that was put together kind of goes along that effort, right? That's one of the things. But again, the concerns about traffic, I think we talked about it a little bit during the PNC meeting. We are, trying to address that, and those concerns will be addressed either as commercial or multifamily through the subdivision process and the site plan review, right? And same thing with landscape, detention, and all those requirements. The intent is basically the site plan that we have. The parking only allows for about 32 units, so it's not like 3 stories. It's two-story buildings with 16 units each. That would be basically the parking is really the critical component that yields how many units can fit in that property, right? And for commercial, the requirement changes a little bit, but it will be practically about the same. Anyway, I'm just here to entertain any questions the Commission might have, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else here to speak for or against the item? You can come to the front and state your name and address. And this is the public comment part, so it's,
yes.
Yeah.
My name is Sylvia Barr. I live at 7113 North 15th Street, and I live within the 200 feet. So the gentleman here mentioned that it's going to have 32 units. So that's 74 parking spots, probably that's going to be there. How can they fit all of those things there, and how is that not going to be a traffic concern when, as we mentioned earlier, all those intersections are there? So we understand that they're trying to figure out something to do with that area. But it needs to fit the reality of what it is. There's a lot of traffic there already. And presumably these people are going to have jobs. So it's going to be, 70-some cars that are going to be coming in and out of there already. And so I just wanted to mention that as well. I know that in the meeting, and it wasn't mentioned just now, but in the meeting with the Planning Commission, the actual planning department was proposing an R2 instead, and the Planning Commission said no to that one as well. And they were not interested also in the R2 because it didn't fit for them either. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Jorge Cruz Sainz, McAllen, Texas. My concerns are when designing these development ideas, I'm asking for y'all to consider all these other departments that need to weigh in on how the city's moving forward. I'm seeing a lot of the planning process is designed behind people's eyes, and then when they're presented the documentation, they're only seeing like a percentage of the entire complex structure that needs to be introduced infrastructurally, not just, okay, this is the contract, this is the contractors, this is the design that we're going to be overseeing. Nobody's cross-communicating on how these designs are actually implementing economic development or growth in the right sectors or innovation in right industries. We're promoting chamber of business that has thousands of business owners, and we're trying to have them represent the idea or the message that McAllen's supposed to convey to the global impact. We got to remember the design of our internet was pre-designed. It has specific network capacities where we need better transparencies. We need better engineering principles that actually reflect modern
Sir,
daytime.
your comments need to be based on this agenda item.
It is based on that.
Okay.
We need modern data to evaluate if we're actually investing in the right companies, in the right sectors, in the right divisions. You're discussing matters that involve Department of Homeland Security and also the cybersecurity networks that are supposed to be overseen by Department of Energy, state, local acquisition process or procurement process. Y'all are having a discussion over the workshop on complex projects. I don't think y'all understand when you're devising an internet, you have specific algorithms that you need to abide by. You have Creative Commons agreements, you have global standards that are following countries' mandates or standards where it's like, I don't even know what to look at when I'm designing a website and I'm seeing how the McAllen is supposed to be designing a website where it creates these transparency measures for the customers or consumers or the stakeholders, and I'm saying, how come I have so much of a difficult time getting my message across to inform directors that we need better measures to inform the people of what exactly is the city's trying to build? If y'all are trying to create one vision or a vision zero, who's able to inform me if my business lines up with the future of McAllen? Or do I want to take my business elsewhere?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, what are the wishes of the commission?
I have a couple questions for planning, probably. Well, someone else wishes to speak.
Thank you. My name is Gerardo Mendoza. I live in 7105 North 15th Street, which is not within the 200 feet distance of the property that they want to change, but nevertheless, it's very close. And what I think is that the original zoning, which was C2, or which is C2, is actually short of actually making a park out of the area, which is probably impossible because nobody will have to will want to put the money. Short of that, the best zoning right now is to keep it C2. C2 means office space. Office space is the least disruptive way of using the area. It will not have that much traffic because offices don't generate that much traffic. It will not have noises in the evening. If you have some of our neighbors, the fence, the backyard fence, is against that land. If they have a two-story building there, and they showed us plans of what they intended to do, there's not enough distance between what they have, what they want to put in there, plus the parking spaces, plus 32 apartments. Okay, so this is really actually something that I think it's not going to be for the good of the people that already live there, who bought their property thinking that this was going to be residential, that this was the original planning a long time ago that was decided. This was decided, I think, in 2004, after several changes. It was decided in 2004 that it was going to be C2. I think strongly that C2 is still the best zoning classification for this property. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Thank you.
I guess some questions for planning. So I do believe there was a question on units and parking. There's a relativity to that would go in the process when they actually design it. They wouldn't be able to build 100 units in one parking space, right? They would.
Yes,
It would dictate to some extent how much density could go into the property, correct?
That's correct, Mr. Haddad. So our current formula, it would be 2 parking spaces for every unit that has 2 bedrooms or more. So that basically almost gives you a limitation on how much units you could propose for that area. I think the proposal is for a little over 30 living units there.
30
Li-
current proposal?
Yeah, at least that's what we spoke with the developer last time we met with him.
So on the surface, when I first saw it, obviously with the nearby schools, I actually thought it would have been a positive move for the schools. Being that close to schools is usually very beneficial for the students. And McAllen, obviously pushing our borders, is really moving towards more and more urbanization, which obviously has pain points. I know there's traffic concerns, but public streets are for traffic. I did see this was actually zoned R3 for almost 12 years. So to some extent, the nearby residents abutting the property and in the surrounding area could have expected this project from 1992 through 2004. It was only because, I guess, I'm sure the property changed hands and someone had a different plan and didn't go through. But I guess one of the questions was, at P&Z, staff is primarily recommending possibly R2. What would be the difference in density in R2 to R3, just high level on this track, do you believe?
Yes, sir, Mr. Haddad. So with an R2 medium residential district, it would allow up to around 20 or 18 living units. So it's much less than what they were proposing. Yes. Now, part of the reason why back when it was R3C, they may have gotten approval for that is because the comprehensive plan back in the day was a very different one. And we just recently approved the comprehensive plan back in 2023, if I'm not mistaken. So the one that we used to analyze our recommendation this time around is it's different and proposed something different for that area. So that might have been the reason why it used to be R3C.
Yeah,
then.
it was a long time ago, but there could have been apartments on there, I guess, with higher density. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, because there was it was rejected at some point historically as well to do C3. They're obviously having difficulty doing R3. No one's developed it yet, so we don't want to end up with an undevelopable tract on, one of the premier thoroughfares of McAllen. I obviously believe that C1, is very suitable as well. But I did read that the developer was not, flexible to the R2. It was not what they were wanting.
That's correct, Commissioner Haddad. So if he were to get an R2 approval, he would have to change his site plan layout. So it wouldn't give him exactly what he would need to do the original plan there.
But right now it's zoned what?
It's zoned C1 for office building.
For office, yeah.
Just like the one next door.
Yeah.
They're wanting to rezone from commercial to a residential type zone.
Right.
Yeah.
But right now it's C1 for office.
That's correct.
Which is
It's just a,
very fitting.
we went through a zoning process 10 years ago or so, in which we rezoned a lot of areas, and this thing was designated as an office area. But
Yeah.
It's been in office for quite some time now.
No, it has.
Yeah.
I was just trying, it has
It
a
is.
lot of history. That's the
Before,
only reason I was trying to bring it
yeah.
up.
I'm here to keep it a C1 with what it is today.
Okay.
Want to make a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Oh, then you have to make a motion to deny the rezoning.
Well, I'll make the motion to, planning and zoning already has a motion denying it.
So you're moving to deny the,
Moving to deny.
No, I have to disapprove.
the rezoning,
That's
right?
only a recommendation from PNC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a motion from them, it's just a recommendation.
Oh, it's a recommendation, okay.
So it's just.
Yes, I will make the motion to,
Is there
to
Deny.
deny
Okay.
a rezoning.
Is there a
To
second?
keep it as C1.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the matter? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. B2.
Thank you, Mr. Quintanilla. This second rezoning is for an initial zoning. It is tied to an annexation request. and it is to initially zone this property to an R2 duplex through fourplex district at 2401 Sprague Road. The subject property is located along the north side of West Sprague Road, approximately 330 feet west of North 23rd Street. The applicant is proposing to annex the property and requesting the R2 district. A feasibility plan has not been submitted. The initial zoning to an R2 district will become effective upon the annexation of the property, and it should be mentioned that it is tied to one of the rezonings that was approved in the routine items on 23rd Street. The adjacent properties are zoned R1 district in all directions except the property on the west side, which is currently outside of McAllen city limits. The property is currently vacant. Surrounding land uses include single-family homes, multifamily residential, commercial uses, and vacant land. Our Envision McAllen future land plan designates the land use category for this property as complete communities, which is compatible to R1 single-family and R2 fourplex district, which allows for establishing low-density neighborhoods to welcome compatible density and commercial uses into their neighborhoods via incremental infill. These areas are majority residential with some office and compatible retail and non-residential uses. The development trend along West Sprague Road is mostly single-family homes and multifamily residential. The tract of land has been in the city's extraterritorial jurisdiction since October 1st of 1981, and therefore there was not a zoning designated for it. An annexation application was submitted for the request to an R2 on November 19th of last year. The requested zoning does conform to the future land use designation as shown in our future land use plan, and is compatible with the surrounding zoning districts and development trend along West Sprague Road. A recorded subdivision plat is required prior to building permit issuance. A masonry screen 8 foot in height shall be required where a commercial, industrial, or multifamily use has a side or rear property line in common with this property. Staff received one phone call in opposition to the initial zoning request due to traffic concerns and the value of the property and privacy concerns. At the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting of January 21st of this year, there was no opposition present. Following discussion of the item, the board unanimously voted to recommend approval of the initial zoning request to R2 district. There was 4 board members present and voting.
Okay, is there anybody here to speak for or against this item? Okay.
Motion to approve.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to approve this item. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Okay, item C, amendment of the zoning ordinance.
Zoning to amend.
There's a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item D.
Thank you, Mr. Kanye. This next item is for 2401 Sprague Road, and this is the annexation that is tied to the rezoning we just discussed. The location has been mentioned, and the proposal is for a request to mix a subdivision that would propose R2 duplexes and townhomes at this property. A recorded subdivision plat will be required as part of the development, and a site plan review may also be required since it is adjacent to Sprague Road. The adjacent properties are zoned, as mentioned, R1 district in all directions except the property on the west side, which is currently outside of McAllen city limits with no zoning designation. Staff has not received any phone calls, emails, or letters in opposition of the annexation request. Staff recommends adoption of the annexation ordinance of this property.
Okay, anyone here to speak for or against the annexation of this property? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve annexation.
And a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. That's the end of the public hearing part of the agenda. We do have an individual that's asked to speak on item 2H through K. Mr. Cruz signs.
To what?
Wait.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Commission, for your time. I'm trying to address policies, procedures, programs, and services from the state's administrative agency's capacity to be able to interpret eligible applicants or eligible entities that may apply jointly for assistance as a multi-entity group under
Mr.
state.
Sands, could you tell me which item you're speaking on, please?
It's the entire process of procuring feedback from individuals that are not.
So for agenda item, public comment has to be a specific agenda
Okay,
item.
well, don't you know what's on the agenda?
I do, so I'm asking which one, sir?
The entire contract, you're seeking out vendors that are giving you information based on the current cybersecurity, correct, on the program?
So that's K, 2H, right?
2H through K.
Okay.
I'm trying to make recommendations for y'all to consider in this administrative process that I'm trying to understand how the city's collaborating or cooperating with agreements contractually or figuratively into the future. So I need to evaluate how the Cybersecurity Planning Committee is going to be informing the people or the infrastructure, the internal infrastructure that Department of Energy is supposed to be coinciding with these pass-through local entities or these additional funds that are going to be available under grants that are going to be passed through rural communities. I feel like the city has not been properly educated or informed on how these executive orders or how these directives are implementing statutes or standards of excellence, when I feel like we're neglecting to oversee how are we going to be able to accept what these vendors are providing as this is the entire package. No, there's so many things when it comes down to construction. I just overheard the city manager say, oh, traditional design process does not involve the collaboration of contractor and the design. So at what point do collaborations be implemented into the traditional process so that we can start informing vendors or procuring better practices when we're trying to evaluate the city's commission's capacity to represent us? We also have to see the global scope of the picture. We're not just trying to pitch McAllen to a certain radius or designating a specific sector. We need to think how we're introducing infrastructure into our cyber capacity or our products or services that we're pitching or promoting, when I feel like the standards are so outdated that by the time we realize what our Constitution means, the creative contract process is going to be so obscure that we're not even going to know what we're signing on to when we assign these developers to help us devise what the public sector needs to support or provide safety.
Sir, your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm just asking for y'all to consider your comprehensive plans from below ground to above ground.
Thank you, sir. That's your time. If you'd please be
When I see
seated.
all these roads messed up, I'm seeing a reflection of how are these contractors responding to
Thank you very
what
much.
the city expects.
Next is item 2, which is the consent agenda. Are there any items that need to be discussed separately? If not, I'll take a motion to approve all items 2A through O.
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item 3.
Mayor Pro Tem Commission, item 3A is consideration and approval of contract amendment number 1 for additional services, Perez Consulting, for the Benson Road widening, FM 676 to FM 1924.
Thank you, City Manager, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commission. PCE is under contract to provide design development services for Benson roadway improvements, project which follows TxDOT state development process. The project is funded federally and is expected to go to bid in the first quarter of 2027 and requires acquiring 61 right-of-way parcels per federal guidelines. To stay on schedule and efforts will align with the RGV, MPO, and TxDOT to secure federal funds. The engineering department proposes to contract PCE for right-of-way acquisition at $7,762.52 per parcel for a total of $473,512.50. Staff recommends approval of the contract amendment number 1, bringing the total contract amount to $23,830.50, and we open it up for any questions.
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Mayor Pro Tem, item 3B is consideration and approval of license agreement for covered canopy for students within the city right-of-way Our Lady of Sorrows Catholic School.
Good evening, Mayor, City Commission. Our Lady of Sorrows Catholic School requests approval of a license agreement to install shade structures with overhangs onto the street right-of-way to provide shade for the students, parents, and staff during drop-off and pickup times. Based on the submitted right-of-way plan, Exhibit 1 in your packet, the canopies are proposed to be within two areas measuring 155-foot long and 14-foot wide at the greatest length on North 11th Street and North 12th Street. The submitted elevation and details are only for the maximum amount of layout. The final layout and details will be submitted and reviewed during the permitting process. The property owner is in concurrence with the terms outlined in the license agreement, including maintenance, removal, and relocation of the shade structure at the owner's expense if the city requires it. Staff is recommending approval of the agreement.
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Mayor Pro Tem, item 4A is an ordinance providing for a budget amendment, capital projects rollovers. We do have staff present if there are any questions.
Any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Mayor Pro Tem, similar to item 4A, 4B is providing for a budget amendment for insurance fund rollovers.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Mayor Pro Tem, item 5A is consideration and possible action to adopt a resolution supporting the development of tax credit proposals for 2025. Michelle?
Thank you. Each year, we get requests for a resolution of support and a commitment of development funding with a minimum $500 waived permit fees. Each year, this is a highly competitive process, and the points that a developer gains by securing the resolution and commitment from the city can make or break the applications. This year, TDHCA notified us of 3 projects eligible in our jurisdiction. I've received requests for 2 of the projects, and the details are included in your packet. Vias at Primrose is a 113-unit affordable housing apartment community for seniors proposed at the southeast quadrant of Buddy Owens and North Ware Road. It's a joint venture between the McAllen Housing Authority and Madhouse Development. Last year, this project was the only project that the City Commission supported, but it did fall just short of being funded. If both projects are supported this year, the Housing Authority project would likely not be funded as it currently ranks 4th. And if both projects are submitted, they will be only 3 that will be funded, because there's $2 million per, and they have about $6 million to spend. The other project that has requested support is Grande Oaks Senior Living, a 104-unit affordable apartment community for seniors proposed at 2817 Nolana. It is being proposed by Texas Gray Oaks Insight Builders out of Houston. They're currently ranked 2nd due to their slightly closer proximity to amenities such as grocery stores, parks, libraries, and schools. The third proposed project that is not seeking support was originally proposed by Madhouse Development, but in order to focus on their joint application with the McAllen Housing Authority, they're not seeking support for this project. And we leave it to the City Commission to determine if they would like to commit support to one, both, or neither.
I'll be abstaining from this item. What are the wishes of the commission?
Mr. Rivera, just to be sure, on the project at Vias at Primrose, Buddy Owens and North Ware, that's a joint venture
Yes.
project with the McAllen Housing
With
Authority?
McAllen Housing Authority, and my understanding is that after 15 years, the private developer steps away and it would become the property of the Housing Authority.
That's correct.
And in recent history, the McAllen Housing Authority has taken, I guess, a more proactive role in development and
Yes.
has partnered with other private developers to create affordable, or I guess a more diverse housing opportunities in our city, right?
That's correct.
So Villas at Primrose, that's the one that is McAllen Housing Authority is involved with.
That's correct.
And seeking support from the city.
Yes.
I think we should go ahead and give the support to our own housing authority.
Yeah, I would make a motion to a letter of support for Vias at Primrose only.
Second.
Yep.
Any further discussion?
I have a discussion. I think we should have those that are, I mean, there's only 2, possible 3, and there could be 3, awarded.
No.
There could be 3, but one of them is going to be from Brownsville because it has a preferred status if you
Correct.
look at this scoring sheet. So
Correct.
if both of these are supported, the Housing Authority will not be successful. They'll be 4th.
Well, they could be 4th.
But there's only $6 million of funding, and
Well, where is
each
it?
gets
Where is
$2
the
million.
number 3?
Number 3 is Meadow Heights in FAR.
Okay. Well, okay. Well, and that is what we have deemed was the calculations of how they're awarded. But, you know, so many of them are awarded and then they fall off. Okay, in the past, that's what you've seen. And we need more senior citizen housing in this area. So us,
Only senior citizen.
no,
Oh, they're both senior.
They're both senior.
both of them are seniors.
They're both are senior.
Both are seniors. And I have just been inundated with people wanting more senior citizen, affordable senior citizen in the city of McAllen. And I just think that either one of them, as long as one of them gets in, should be, why would we, not only because maybe McAllen Affordable Homes will be part of the other, and I just feel that we should, you know, be in favor of both of them.
Commissioner, I don't disagree with the point you're making, but I think, you know, as a Board of Commission, I don't think we're beholden, but certainly there's a compelling interest to be sure that we're supporting our local housing authority, McAllen Housing, it's not authority anymore, right? It is, so, right?
Housing
MHA.
Commission.
You know, they've already had a proven track record of providing affordable, quality housing. The more recent one was with a different developer on Dove and Bicentennial. It's a 4 or 5 story project on there, you know, and certainly those are the type of projects that we want to certainly attract tenants to with very good building developers who are doing high quality construction projects. And certainly the McAllen Housing Authority has had a track record of maintaining multifamily properties across the city to making sure that it projects a very good, positive, and very aesthetically pleasing image of broadbands of housing.
Okay, well, we have multiple housing projects. Well, I don't like to say project. We have multiple all over the city. Some have been private, and some of them have been through McAllen Affordable Housing type of organization. But I'm not here to discourage either a private individual to wanting to invest in what is very much needed, which is senior citizen affordability housing on a private level, because we, as a commission, would be only approving those that go through the McAllen Affordable Housing. So I just think that it should be an open, competition amongst the 2 or 3, and if we can get both of them through, because who's to say that at the end the Brownsville one will flourish, or FAR one will, because many a times things happen in the process. These people still have not bought the land. So today, they're saying that if they buy the land and they do this and they get awarded, then it happens. But at the end, they could not maybe buy the land, and then that's it. We lose the availability of one of the 2 that could be senior, that could be built in our city. So I don't see why we have to choose. I think it should be open competition amongst those that want to provide senior citizen. So if it was one or the other, something was drastically different, but they're not. So no, I would encourage this board not to just, approve or ask or give the approval to one and not to the other, because giving a disapproval is a kiss of death to having another 113 units in our community. We could have both of them.
If I can just add that, one of the things that's
I
attractive.
can barely hear you. Excuse me.
One of the things that's attractive about the Housing Authority one is that it does have a local entity that's tied to it. So you're right, there are multiple reasons that an entity can be awarded or be higher in the scoring and then choose not to go forward with it. Maybe they can't reach a deal with the landowner, maybe they can't. But we know that our local housing authority is here and they're here for the long haul. And so that's one of the reasons that, we as staff have tried to support. We're actually working with the Housing Authority to do some other CDBG-related things that will help the housing community as well, and so we're just trying to partner. But I'll leave it to
I
the
think there's a
discussion.
motion and a second.
There is. Any further discussion? Anyone else want to? No? Okay, so there's a motion and a second. Take a vote. All in favor, say
And there's not going to be discussion?
It's not a,
Discussion.
No, but amongst.
It's not a public, it's not a public.
not a public hearing. Yeah.
Okay.
But you could
So
get no
all in,
opposition.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Nay.
Nay. Motion passes. And that was for the letter of support for only one, which is 2025 Buddy Owens, right? Okay, item 6A is a variance request.
Rod? Go ahead, Rod.
Okay, thank you. This is a property that is located on the south side of Buddy Owens Boulevard. A property that was brought into the city through annexation in March of 1998. It was split from a larger tract without the benefit of a subdivision. And that happened after 1990. Now, access to this property is by an access road, and that connects north into Buddy Owens Boulevard. There is an existing structure on the property that is used as an assisted living facility, but the applicant is proposing to add a 7th bedroom. The proposal does require a building permit, and that triggers the subdivision process. Previously, a subdivision exemption application was submitted in January of this year. However, it did not meet the criteria for a subdivision exemption. City departments have reviewed the proposed development, and they have recommended the following regarding the variance request. Traffic Department, Utilities Department, Public Works Department, they have no objection to this request. The Engineering Department has no objection to the request, but they do recommend to escrow or a contractual agreement for paving, drainage, and sidewalks. The Fire Department does not recommend disapproval. However, if approved by the City Commission, the Fire Department will require access to be designed and maintained in order to support the imposed loads of fire apparatus for all weather conditions. The basis for the request is that the subdivision process will increase the time, the financial costs, and the use will remain as an assisted living facility. If a variance is granted, the property owner will need to obtain building and related permits from the city of McAllen. However, if the variance is not approved, the subdivision process with the required public improvements would be required before any building permits are issued. Staff recommends disapproval of the variance request, which requires a subdivision process and the McAllen subdivision ordinance. If approval of the variance is considered, then it should be subject to the requirements that are outlined in option number 2, as you see on your report, by the various development departments.
Any comments, questions? Is there a motion? taking a motion at this time.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
If I could just add one comment to this.
Mhm.
This is, we have a project in the area of Torres Acres in review right now with Mario. They've already donated some right-of-way, and we do have a project that will put roadway and sidewalk. So it may not be necessary to take in that escrow. We'd recommend, as far as for the.
Okay.
I want to just clarify the part where we did ask on this motion, but we don't need sidewalk in the roadway, the curb and gutter for the project, because we do have a project already funded for it, and they did donate the right-of-way to us as part of that process.
Yeah, those are the things that, yes, we
Thank
need
you,
to
Eduardo.
work, we need to work with them on trying to make something happen if, instead of denying them right now because of their, financially, there's a big difference if they have to do what we're having them do. So if the engineering department has, or would like to have a 2-week table on this thing, I'd table it and try to work it out.
I'd rather the issue become moot
Ah,
rather than figure out a hardline approval.
Exactly.
Or disapproval.
So,
Is that?
Eduardo, so the right-of-way was already taken care of?
That property is escrowed.
Right-of-way
not escrowed,
dedication, contractual agreement, McAllen Public Utilities, fire, traffic, and engineering requirements, everything.
MPU, I'm not sure. We covered the engineering portion. Do you know if water and sewer?
But it can be subject to them. If we approve it.
My understanding is that the water and sewer line was run by the city at some point in the past down this pavement, and there is some millings on this road, though we're not sure exactly how, because there is one property owner at the very entranceway that I'm led to believe has not signed the right-of-way over. But this property back here, they do have access, and they have been operating a nursing home at this location for many, many years, and they wanted to add on to it.
Yeah.
However, because of the fact that they weren't subdivided, they couldn't increase it by more than 20% without triggering subdivision. So that's why they're before us today.
Is there going to be a significant impact to the project if a decision on this request is delayed 2 weeks?
I don't think so.
On our project, no. Oh, I don't know.
On
their
the
project?
nursing home, being able to, is 2 weeks going to significantly impact the nursing home's ability on the remodel they want to start? Obviously, we're not going to get the construction done in 2 weeks, so I would rather have staff regroup and make sure that we're making a recommendation that makes sense than to take a stab at it and have
Yea
to
or
come back
nay?
and correct something.
Is that a yea or nay?
Motion to table said item.
Yes, we wait 2 weeks, but we are strict guidelines of, because it's an SBA though, so we're kind of crunching time.
Option.
But they're crunching time, but do you understand that the decision can be to deny and there will be anything? At least in this one, if we table it, we're gonna have time for the staff to review and then us to make a decision, maybe favorable, maybe not, we don't know, but you have a better chance. That's what we're trying to do over here.
Or-
You okay with that? Good.
Well, I was gonna say, unless, if time permits, if staff figures it out before, in the interim, I'm not sure if option 2 is amicable to them. And if staff figures out something beforehand with approval to make that kind of moot, right? They're not gonna need to do that, but they already have the authority to do so. The, option 2 is.
Because, so
the
we're
variance
just
from-
spending pretty much like a public utility? That's what I asked, if we could go ahead and do it, just, subject to that one. Right? Okay. You want to amend the table? Mr.
Well, you didn't get a second, so I mean.
Well, I'll rescind the motion to.
Okay. Is there another motion?
I would make a motion to approve option 2, subject to,
Right-of-way dedication and
contractual agreement.
Second.
Right away.
Okay, is a motion?
With staff.
Yeah.
So it's all of option 2, right?
Yes.
Okay. There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Mayor Pro Tem, item 6B is consideration of a variance request to the maximum block length of 1,200 feet, variance to provide 47 feet of right-of-way instead of the required 57 feet of right-of-way for an interior street. Rod?
Thank you. The Haven Hill subdivision is a proposed 46-lot, single-family subdivision with lots 1 through 45 designated as single-family lots, and there is one lot to serve as detention area. The subject property is located by the intersection of Auburn Avenue and North Ware Road, and the property consists of a total of 9.53 acres and is zoned single-family residential. The project engineer, on behalf of the developer, submitted a variance request, actually 2 variance requests for this subdivision. And number 1 is a maximum block length requirement. Number 2 is a right-of-way requirement for the street connecting the south part of the property to Auburn Avenue. And it has a proposed 47 right-of-way, east to west, in lieu of the required 50 feet of right-of-way. The variance request number 1 is from the subdivision ordinance, and it states that a block length shall not exceed 1,200 feet in length, and the proposed is approximately 1,260, and so that it would have continued north with a stub out to the north. Variance request number 2 is from the subdivision ordinance, requires a minimum 50 feet of right-of-way for local streets. The proposed plat provides 47 feet of right-of-way for a section that goes east-west along the south side of Lot 41. The basis for the variance is that the boundary of the proposed plat is restricted by the property located adjacent to the south. The development staff reviewing this proposed subdivision, they did not have any objections to the variance requests. This did go before the Planning and Zoning Commission, and in revised preliminary final form, the board unanimously voted to approve the subdivision in revised preliminary final form, subject to conditions, drainage and traffic approvals, and they recommended approval of both variance requests. And there were 4 members present and voting.
Okay, there's 2 variances being requested for this this item.
I have to abstain from this one.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Still have a quorum. So we're going from 1,200 to 1,260, right? And from 50 to 47. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so there's a motion and a second to approve both variances as proposed. Okay. Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously
Thank you, Rod.
Thank you.
with 1 abstention.
The new.
Item 7A.
We'll make it 45.
Mayor Pro Tem, we have a
The new.
Immigration and Respite Center report for you this evening.
Honorable Mayor, Commissioners, just want to give you a quick update. It's been a little while since I was here to give an update. Immigrant drop-off numbers from federal agencies are down significantly at the moment. To give you an idea of what they have been here recently, in October of 2024, we had 3,634 drop-offs, 3,594 in November. Then December saw a little increase. We went to 5,191. In January of this year, the numbers dropped off towards the end of the month. We had 3,188 total for the month of January. And then so far in February, our numbers are under 12 per day. So the numbers are significantly lower. At the current rate, will probably be somewhere under 350 for the month of February. Staff continues to meet regularly with federal, state, and local agencies and local officials. And we'll keep you posted. We do anticipate that there may be changes as time goes on, but we're keeping a close eye on it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
7B, Advisory Board appointments.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners. The item before you is for Advisory Board appointments. Commissioner Aguirre, you have reappointed George Mendoza to the BBOA Board, Susan Lee to the Civic Center, Madeline Aubrey True to CDBG, Joseph Bryan to the McAllen Library, Alec Rios to Parks and Recreation, Jesse Osuna to Planning and Zoning, and Rick Guerra to the Traffic Commission. Those are your reappointments. You also had new nominations. You had Todd Mann, you're appointing him to the Ambulance Board, and John Rowell to the Golf Course Advisory Board. Commissioner Zamora, you reappointed Jose Antonio de Luna to the Ambulance Board, Melissa Nair to the Historic Preservation Council, Julian Rankin to Parks and Recreation, Marco Suarez to Planning and Zoning, and Efrain Molina to Traffic. Reminder that you've got 2 members that have termed out, Ruben Flores on the Civic Center Board and Linda Castillo to the McAllen Library Board. Mayor Pro Tem Quintanilla, you have 8 members that are eligible for reappointment. If you wish to reappoint, you've got Daniel Cardenas to the Ambulance Board, Ruth Beth Contreras and Tatiana Bravo to the Convention Board, Danny Boltonhouse, Historic Preservation Council, Alfredo Montanero, and Carlos Garza to Parks and Recreation, Don Medina to the Traffic Commission, and Alex Lamela to the ZBOA Board. All these members are eligible for reappointment, and you have 1 member that has termed out on the Planning and Zoning Commission.
I'd like to reappoint those that are eligible to be reappointed. Did you say Planning and Zoning? I think it's another board, isn't it? Let's see.
It's
Keep McAllen beautiful, isn't it?
that's
Termed out.
Michael Fallick has turned out to PNZ.
Oh, did he? Okay, I thought he was through the end of the year. Okay.
So that one will be pending. Commissioner Castillo nominated Steve Munich to the CDBG Board, and you're also reappointing Jose Peña to BBOA, Regina Richardson to the Civic Center, Alejandro Aguirre to CDBG, Artemio de la Fuente to the Golf Course Advisory Board, Jameson Smerrick to the Senior Citizens, and Rene Garcia to the Traffic Commission. You've got a pending appointment also to PNC and 2 vacancies, 1 to the Historic Preservation and 1 to the Library Board. And Commissioner Haddad, you have 4 members eligible for reappointment. You've got Frank Davila to the Golf Course Advisory Board, Reza Badiosamani to PNC, and Harry Uday to the Traffic Commission Board. All members are eligible for reappointment if you wish to reappoint them.
Reappoint those 4.
Okay. And Commissioner Pepe Cabeza de Vaca, I know he stepped out, but he did make reappointments. He reappointed Cesar Rodriguez to the Airport Advisory Board. He made a nomination, Eric Darbo Diaz to CDBG, and he's reappointing Emilio Santos to Planning and Zoning. No, I'm sorry, that was, it was Eric Darba Diaz and Jesse Barba. They sound like Eric Darbo Diaz and Jesse Barba to CDBG and Emilio Santos to Planning and Zoning. And you also have some ZBOA appointments that are done by the entire City Commission. And we've got alternate, the alternate number 2 and alternate number 4. Those 2 are vacant, so we're going to need nominations by the entire commission there. And we also need reappointments to the Civil Service Board, and those are by the entire City Commission. We have Kevin Pagan that's eligible for reappointment. And also, I'd like to make a note that Ruben Garza was appointed back in October of 2020 to fill an unexpired term, which ended December 31st of 2022. He hasn't been reappointed. Remind you that Civil Service Commissioners serve a 3-year term, and Mr. Garza is eligible for reappointment for the term ending December 31st, 2025, if you wish to reappoint him, and he would be eligible for reappointment upon the term expiring at the end of the year. And then on the McAllen Hidalgo Reynosa Bridge, we do have a nomination to make by the commission also to replace Martin, who is no longer on the board. And at this time, I can entertain any other nominations you wish to make.
Okay.
Motion to replace Martin?
He resigned,
Oh, he resigned.
so we have a vacancy, I believe. Joaquin Spammer is interested in serving there.
That nomination been made? Do we
Yes.
make a motion on it?
That's a commission appointment, so somebody would need to make that motion.
Then I would make a motion for Joaquin Spammer on the bridge, and I would make a motion to reappoint Kevin Pagan and Ruben Garza on civil service.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem, item 7C is future agenda items.
Anything else to add to our future agenda item list? All right. On to number 8, tabled items.
Are we ready to take that off, Denny, or do you want to leave that one more
We
meeting?
can leave it tabled until the next
Okay.
February meeting.
Item number 9, executive session.
Mayor Pro Tem, with regards to item 9A, there's no action required. With regards to item 9B, I recommend that the board entertain a motion to authorize staff to proceed as described in executive session.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Mayor Pro Tem, with regards to 9C, I recommend that the Board of Commissioners entertain a motion to authorize staff to proceed as described as in executive session.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Okay, there being no further business, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Regular City Commission meetings are held on the second and fourth Monday of each month. Meetings are rebroadcast on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays on the McAllen Cable Network.